बाहर
कोई
निकला
बात
और देखा खुश हो गया तो
कोई बात नहीं, नो प्रॉब्लम, होता है, हैपेंस, क्या कर सकते हैं।
हम्म,
वैसे वो लोग ने जनरली, आई थिंक दे काइंड ऑफ रिवर्स्ड द, जैसे पिछले साल जो जो दिया था ना उसका रिवर्स इस बार दिया था,
हाँ यस
है ना। जो पिछली
उन्होंने
बार स्टैट पे इस बार क्यू दिया, क्यू पे फोकस है।
हाँ इस बार उन्होंने क्यू पे ज्यादा फोकस किया यस
हम्म।
लेट्स वेट फॉर 5 more minutes
या तो स्कल्स को घुमा के पूछा था मिनिमम स्पैनिंग ट्री बताओ।
हाँ वही मिनिमम स्पैनिंग ट्री ना किसका हाँ
एक्चुअली मिनिमम
वही मैंने
कॉस्ट स्पैनिंग ट्री, ये देखो मैं दिखाता हूँ तुम्हें। अगर तुमने स्लाइड देखा हो तो तुमने नोटिस किया, इसलिए मैंने स्लाइड बनाया था बिकॉज काफी चीजें जो है ना वो टॉपिक में है। तो अभी ये देखोगे ना, यहाँ मिनिमम कॉस्ट स्पैनिंग ट्री है ना स्लाइड,
हाँ
और यहाँ मेंशन है कि ये इसके एप्लीकेशन है।
यस
तो इससे
याद आया मुझे ये
कोई भी एक एप्लीकेशन बता के लिख देने का था, तो वही किया मैंने भी,
हाँ
मैंने इसको बताया और
वो
फिर
ब्रेथ फर्स्ट सर्च आया था वो पता नहीं वो नहीं
हाँ,
लिख
तो
पाया
अगर तुमने सेशन अटेंड किया होता तो तुमको पता होता। वो पता है ना, फर्स्ट फर्स्ट क्या बोलते हैं, कौन सा था उसका दूसरा वाला, फर्स्ट
डेप्थ
Depth
डेप्थ फर्स्ट
फर्स्ट
डेप्थ
सर्च,
फर्स्ट
हाँ, तो
सर्च
इट वाज एग्जैक्टली द सेम एज द फर्स्ट सर्च। सुमैया ने मेरे को कल बताया था कि उसमें सिर्फ क्यू यूज करते हैं स्टैक की जगह, बस बाकी सब लॉजिक सेम रहेगी। इसके लिए मेरे
ओके
10 पॉइंट बच गए, नहीं तो ज्यादा था मेरा भी।
ये कल के सेशन में रिकॉर्डेड सेशन में तो ये चीज़ कहीं डिस्कशन में सुनी नहीं मैंने कल मैं रात को वही सुन रहा था
हो सकता है कि ये भी हो सकता है कि उस टाइम रिकॉर्ड ना होता हो, ये भी हो सकता है।
हाँ
तो हम लोग ने क्या किया था, हम लोग ने फिर ये सारे जितने भी स्लाइड्स हैं वी जस्ट वेंट थ्रू इट लाइक फटाफट। ये देखो
ये
ब्रेड
इतने
है ना,
सारे एल्गोरिदम्स हैं हाँ 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 हाँ
ब्रेड फर्स्ट सर्च। थैंक्स सुमैया फॉर सेविंग माय 10 पॉइंट्स बिकॉज अगर तुमने ये नहीं बताया होता तो ज्यादा था। इसमें
ये
सिर्फ
कैसे किया अपना एल्गोरिदम फॉर स्ट्रिंग वन इज सबस्ट्रिंग ऑफ स्ट्रिंग टू
वो
वो
तो अपना मैंने एल्गोरिदम खुद
अपने
का लगाया है, बट आई एम नॉट श्योर वो
सेम
क्यों है। सेम है,
मैंने भी
इट्स
वही किया
जस्ट क्यू, नथिंग एल्स।
हम्म। वो भी कितना गंदा पूछा उन्होंने ट्री को बाइनरी ट्री कैसे कन्वर्ट करते हैं पूरा
हाँ,
स्टेप वाइज बताओ
करेक्ट। क्विक सॉर्ट लिखा कि नहीं, कृतिका इज देयर और नॉट, इज देयर।
I'm here लिखा
क्या
ना
लिखा कि
कितना
नहीं तुमने?
बहुत अच्छे से लिखा है नहीं तो खुशी खुशी अटेम्प्ट करा मैंने पूरा रटा हुआ था मुझे ये।
मैंने कहाँ तक अटेम्प्ट
I
किया पता है ये
also
वाला?
wrote everything.
मैंने बस वहीं तक अटेम्प्ट किया जहाँ तक तुम मैंने कहा था स्टॉप, मैंने वहां तक लिखा, और लिखने के बाद मैंने कहा कि बाकी तुम लोग खुद से कर लो, और डायरेक्ट थॉट मार दिया।
हाँ एक्चुअली वो सही है वो भी सही है क्योंकि मतलब पूरा नहीं करता ना रिकर्शन से पूरा होने ही जाना तो
हाँ,
जहां
मैंने
तक
कहा रिपीट
वो
द स्टेप्स, और फिर मैंने सॉलिड एरे डाल दी उधर। ये पिवट
हाँ
वाले तक
सही
किया
है
था, जहां तक मैंने मुझे समझ में आया था मैंने वहां तक लिखा, उसके बाद मैंने छोड़ दिया। अब भाग यहाँ से कौन करेगा। बट या आई
हमने
एम
कौन
ग्लैड द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन है बिग नोटेशन था।
हाँ हमने कौन सा क्वेश्चन स्किप किया
मैंने सेकंड वाला
ओ सेम
डिलीट, या मिनिमम कॉस्ट स्पैनिंग ट्री में मेरे को डर लग रहा था बिकॉज बीच में कॉस्ट वर्ड आ गया था, राइट। लेकिन अपनी स्लाइड में एक जगह मेंशन है मिनिमम कॉस्ट स्पैनिंग ट्री के अलग अलग एल्गोरिदम्स है, क्रुस्कल, तो मैंने क्रुस्कल लगा के कर दिया उसको।
हाँ मैंने भी
आशीष
हाँ
क्रिस्कल।
यस थैंक्स सचिन
अरे भाई
क्या क्या हुआ?
सचिन ने मुझे याद दिलाया एग्जाम में मैंने उसको पूछा ये मिनिमम स्पेन ये मिनिमम कॉस्ट स्पेनिंग ट्री में क्या लिखूं
तो लिखा ना
तो बोलते
क्रुस्कल।
हैं हाँ हाँ फिर अच्छे से लिखा
हाँ, तो
मैंने
बस
दस दस पॉइंट पूरे
that-
उसमें अच्छे से मिलेंगे
गुड। और इन ऑर्डर भी कल हमने किया था, रिमेंबर कृतिका, दैट वाज द वन वी वर गोइंग टू लीव, फिर हमने कहा कि चलो डाल देते हैं उसमें। शायद
हाँ
शायद सुमैया ने डाला था, किसने तो डाला था उसमें, वो लिस्ट में,
मैंने
है ना?
मैंने डाला था
तुमने डाला था क्या? ओके गुड। ये इन ऑर्डर अच्छा वो देख लिया था अपन ने। 5 12 6 1 9 एकदम सेम बनाया मैंने ग्राफ ये वाला,
मैं
और फिर ये
नंबर्स
एल्गोरिथम
रख के
एक्सप्लेन
गई
कर दी।
थी।
नंबर भी रख लिया था तुमने? मैंने भी रख लिया था नंबर, लेफ्ट ट्री, राइट सब ट्री, ऑल ऑफ दैट। वो लास्ट क्वेश्चन आया था अपना। मतलब वो लोग ने क्या किया, जो लास्ट ईयर पेपर था ना, उसको
थोड़ा-थोड़ा
उसके
सा चेंज
अलावा जो था
करके
वो पूरा किया। अभी जैसे पिछली बार
देखो
उन्होंने वो 2 दिया था,
एक
तो इस बार इन्होंने ये वाला दिया।
हाँ
हर चीज़ में थोड़ा-थोड़ा सा चेंज करा, जैसे
हाँ,
एडिशन ऑफ मैट्रिसेस था, इस बारी मल्टीप्लिकेशन ऑफ मैट्रिसेस, लाइक नाइस।
करेक्ट। और पिछली बार स्टैक पे फोकस था, इस बार क्यू पे
हाँ,
फोकस।
क्यू पे था।
और बिग वन नोटेशन तो सोचा नहीं था आएगा, लेकिन अच्छा है, पढ़ा था तो लिख लिया।
हाँ,
वो भी
हाँ।
अच्छा था क्वेश्चन, इंसर्ट सॉरी डिलीट करने का लिंक लिस्ट में से।
यस, लेकिन उसके साथ जो अटैच क्वेश्चन था ना, उसके लिए मैं ज्यादा कॉन्फिडेंट नहीं था, इसलिए मैंने अटेम्प्ट किया नहीं। दूसरा क्वेश्चन था कि कन्वर्ट द ट्री इनटू बाइनरी ट्री। लॉजिक पता है कि मतलब अनऑर्डर्ड ऑर्डर्ड है, बट डिटेल में प्रैक्टिस नहीं थी, इसके लिए आई डिडंट अटेम्प्ट दैट वन, अटेम्प्टेड अनदर वन। एनीवेज, लेट्स नॉट स्पेंड टू मच टाइम ऑन दिस। रात गई बात गई। अब अपन फोकस करते हैं, लास्ट जो बचा है पूरा जी जान इस पे लगाने का है। ठीक है। So yeah, the plan is we'll first finish off the question paper, then we'll finish all the blue slides that are remaining, and then we will do all the non-blue slides, because तुम देखा ना क्या करते हैं वो लोग। कोई ज़रूरी नहीं है कि वो क्वेश्चन पेपर या फिर असाइनमेंट से दें, चेंज भी कर सकते हैं। तो एटलीस्ट पढ़ा रहेगा तो विल बी एबल टू डू समथिंग अबाउट इट। तो हमने तो एक्चुअली ऑब्जेक्ट ओरिएंटेड प्रोग्रामिंग पूरा पढ़ा है, कंप्लीट all of the topics, लेकिन of course revise नहीं किया है, so we'll check that. Okay, starting with what is object oriented programming. So object oriented programming is a programming language in which an object is used as a main source of its data, which contains properties and methods. What is an object? Object is basically an instance of a class, and it contains properties and methods. How is it created? It's created with two steps. First is the declaration. Second is the initialization, right? Initialization.
Instantiation.
Instantiation. Yeah, I keep forgetting that. Kritika, I've removed the initialization point from there because it's not there
It's
in the
not
book.
got it.
See this create object. It's two
Yeah.
steps. This is what I pasted from the book itself.
I found it
So
on another website, and I saw that several
I know
websites
seen,
have
I've seen
initialization.
where you found it from. I've seen that, but let's go with the book.
Yes, that
Okay,
makes
so
sense.
first we'll declare it, the class name and the variable name. Then in this is the point where the reference to the object is created, but the memory is not allocated. Then we instantiate the class and create an object by using new student and then the variable whatever we created on top. And this is the point where the memory is allocated to the object. Next point is help of example. So I think there are a hell lot of examples we can give for creation of the class. So we'll move on. Explain the use of super keyword in Java programming with the help of an example. So a super keyword is used to access the parent method inside of the child method. This is useful in case if both parent and child class have the same method with the same name. So that the compiler doesn't get confused as to which method are you referring to. We use super to tell the compiler that we are referring to the method in the parent class that we are trying to call in the child class. Write a program, to demonstrate how thread is created in Java. So let's do that. IntelliJ. I'm sure everybody's tired. The sooner we finish, the better it is, because I really don't have the energy, because I've been I'm sure you guys are also like till 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, you guys are studying. Okay, so this is an example one. So to create a thread, I think there are different ways of creating a thread. One is either to extend the thread class, or we can also implement the interface, runnable interface. Let's do it with the thread class because it's not specifying how to do it, right? Yeah. I don't remember. Let's try. Example, extends thread class import Java. Is it in the util or lang? Let's see. No. Where is it? Let's see. Java.lang. This is the one. Java.lang dot thread just thread. So we are using the runnable here. We can use any, right? Because it's not saying what thing to implement.
Yeah, we can use any.
Okay. For now, let's go with this example. Okay. So we have to implement runnable. What is complaining? Oh, we can't take example now because example will be the main class. Example, and this will be my thread. Example, public static void main string aux. It's complaining. Okay. Okay, so it's saying it must implement this method. Public void run. Now it's not complaining. Okay, then system.print.ln, system.out.println, thread.current thread.get name, thread.current thread.get name plus running. System.out.println priority thread dot current thread dot get priority. Okay. Okay, let's instantiate this. So and inside of my thread, we're going to call new. I think I'm making a mistake here. 1 second. New thread, not new my thread. New thread. Inside of this will be new my thread. Second parameter will be the name of the thread. So okay. Now what am I doing wrong? This should be thread, right? Yeah. Then you have to call the start method of the thread. So thread dot start. That's it. I guess that's it. Oh, you have to set the priority also, right? So thread dot set priority to 8. Okay, so what we're doing is we are importing the thread class, then we are implementing the runnable interface. And you saw that it was throwing an error. It was saying that if you're implementing this interface, then you have to implement this run method also, because probably, so you go to the, see that. So I'm going to the definition in the one of the Java files. This is one of the Java files, which is where this runnable interface is defined. And you can see that there's an abstract method, and you have to implement it. It says that when an object implementing runnable is used, create a thread. Starting thread causes the object's run method to be called in that separately executing thread. So you have to implement the run, otherwise you'll get an error. So public void run. Inside of this, you're just printing the name of the thread and the priority of the thread. That's it. You're doing. That's what you're doing here. You can do both of this in the same line also, which is also fine, or do it in multiple lines. Then inside of main, you are instantiating the thread class, creating a thread object, and it takes two parameters. First is the implementation of the thread, that class you have, that object. So you are instantiating that, and then the name of the thread. And you set the priority and you just run it. Okay. So I want somebody else to try. Sumaya, will you try?
Okay.
Guys, thread is important now. You might get a question. Some topics are like super important. There are high chances of them coming in. Thread, event handling, objects, anything to do with the objects, Java FX. These topics are like really important. Were you already typing?
Sorry.
Nothing. Carry on.
I have to declare a
Yeah,
class.
name it whatever you want to. Name it whatever you want to.
It implements runnable.
Yep. Can you zoom in a little bit?
I don't know how to zoom in.
Plus, command plus.
Okay.
Yep. Public void. Practice all the programs tomorrow morning so that they are fresh in your head. All the programs are written on the slides. Yeah. Let's print both the things in one line. Let's just save some time. System.out.println.
Print the name of the thread.
Yeah. Get current thread, right? Yeah. Thread.current thread.get name. Running. Break this into multiple lines. It's okay. You don't have to make the sentence too long.
Okay.
By the way, Imran, actually, I am not good in Java programming. So, any suggestion for me for tomorrow's exam? Like, what should I focus more?
See, my suggestion is focus on the theory. First prepare all the blue slides theory. Once you're done with theory, then look at the programs. They're not very difficult. The main thing you have to remember, to create any Java program, you have to have the main function inside that class. How you used to write the class in C programming, similarly you'll write the class here also, but they're just slight differences. Like the main function will take string and arguments. String array will be the data type, and then arguments. Then if you want to print anything, instead of a print function, you will use system dot or out dot println. To concatenate a string and a variable, you use plus sign. So things like this. Yeah. So we are creating new thread. It takes two parameters. One is my thread, which is a runnable interface that's implemented. There'll be a bracket after my thread because you are instantiating that particular runnable interface
Yeah.
extension. And then you have to call the method to set the priority.
Set the priority for.
Yeah. Why is it my thread underline? Can you check? Set priority.
20.
Why was it giving error? Sorry, I didn't see that.
It's
Why
just
was
slow.
it?
It went away.
Oh, okay. Okay, now we have to call the run
It was
method.
showing the errors while I was typing.
Okay. So call the run method.
New thread dot run. New thread dot
Start. Sorry,
start.
start, not run. Yeah, sorry. You call the start, it'll automatically invoke the run method. Okay, run it. Semicolon. Last
Why did it
exam,
fail
you
again?
have to go all out tomorrow. Last exam. After the Sunday, you can party if it all goes well.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
But I'm predicting that whatever is on the blue slide, it should cover at least 70 to 80% of whatever is going to come tomorrow because it's huge. My sister counted there was 70 blue slides.
What is blue slides? I'm not getting blue
Blue
slides.
slides are the one which are in from the previous year question paper and from the assignment.
Okay, basically star marked.
Yeah, star, and they are blue also. Their background are blue, so it helps you differentiate.
Why is it failing?
Go up, import java.lang.thread. Give the program to me. Let me check. Just Control A, Control C, and send it on the chat.
Okay.
Okay, look at my screen. I'll share my screen. Ah, this is like in one line. How did it come in one line? Oh, you put double semicolon, Sumaya. Now there's no error. Yep, there's no error. You had to put double semicolon.
Okay, I removed that, but it's still not working.
I'll send you. Try this. But anyways, you get the idea. Let's not spend too much time on that. Moving on. So next question. So we solved this question, how a thread is created and how the priority is to be set to 8. So key things to remember from this is you have to implement runnable interface. You have to import java.lang.thread. To get the name of the thread, you call thread.currentThread.getName. And to get the priority, you will say thread.currentThread.getPriority. Then you will create a new thread object. You will pass my thread, whatever class you've implemented, and then you'll pass the name. Then you will set the priority using set priority function, and you will start it. Moving on. What is exception? Why proper exception handling? Sumaya, can you please mute? Why proper exception handling is necessary in Java? Write a program to demonstrate use of multiple catch clauses in exception handling. 10 marks. So exception is an event that occurs during the execution of a program that disrupts the normal flow of the program. If you don't handle exception, then the program will get terminated. But if you do handle exception using try and catch method, then the program will continue to run even if there's an error. And when an exception occurs, it creates an object. This object contains the name of the exception as well as the more details about the exception, like what is the error, etc. Now there are different exception that occurs. One is the built-in exception, and second is user defined exception. Why proper exception handling is necessary in Java programming? So I think one of the points I remember is that it separates the documentation from the code. So when you write the exception, it separates that, so that you can easily find out where the error is. Then apart from that, what was the point about up the call stack? It throws the error moving up the call stack, something like that. Let's take a look. Exception. Okay. Unwanted or unexpected event which occurs during the execution of the program at runtime that disrupts the normal flow of the program instruction. When an exception occurs within a method, it creates an object. This object is called exception object. It contains information about exceptions, such as name and description of the exception and state of the program when the exception occurs. Causes of exception, let's try to remember. Invalid user input, network failure, memory, I think when all the memory is consumed. Apart from that, code error. What else? Does anyone recall other reasons for exception? Out of memory. Okay. Invalid user input, device failure, loss of network connection, physical limitation out of disk memory, code errors, and opening an unavailable file, and JVM has run out of the memory. So invalid user input, device failure, loss of network connection, physical limitation, code errors, opening an unavailable file. Why proper exception is handling? Separating the error handling code from the regular code. So exception provides a means to separate the details of what to do when something out of ordinary happens from the main program logic. So separating the error handling code from the regular code. Then propagating errors up the call stack. Exceptions have the ability to propagate error reporting up the call stack of methods. Grouping and differentiating error types. Because all exceptions thrown within a program are objects, the grouping or categorizing is a natural outcome of the class hierarchy. Okay. Sajjan, will you read this?
Yeah, sure. Why proper exception handling is necessary? Separating errors, handling code from regular code. Exception provides the means to separate the details of what to do when something out of the ordinary happens from the main program logic. Uh, Propagating errors up the call stack. Exception have the ability to propagate errors reporting up the call stack of method.
Okay.
Grouping and differentiating errors type. Because all exceptions thrown within a program are object, the grouping categorizing of exception is a natural outcome of the class hierarchy. An example, a group of related exception classes are defined in Java IO exception and its descendants.
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 Okay, Kritika. Is she there or left?
Yeah, she left. She'll be back after
Okay.
20 minutes.
Ashish?
Yeah. So error handling, it's separating the error handling code from the regular code. Like exception provides the mean to separate the detail of what to do when something out of ordinary happens from the main program logic. Propagating error up the call stack. Exception have an ability to propagate error reporting up the call stack of method. What is call stack of method?
Call
Imran?
stack is like whenever you write a program and you write a piece of code, like you declare a variable,
Mm-hmm.
it stores that information in the memory stack. How
Mm-hmm.
you studied stack yesterday, right?
Yeah.
How in stack items are inserted in the
Mm-hmm.
order and removed. Similarly,
Mm-hmm.
when you write a program, each and every line,
Mm-hmm.
it stores the memory of that in the stack. It keeps putting them on the stack. So everything is stack wise in the order of the execution. So if the error occurs, it'll occur in that stack in that order.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. So grouping and differentiating error types, because all exceptions thrown within a program are object, the grouping or categorizing of exception exceptions is a natural outcome of the class hierarchy. An example of group of related exception classes are defined in java.io, where IO exception and its descendants.
Okay, so three things. First is separating the error handling code from the main code. So it really helps us separate the error handling code from the main code. Next was grouping. Since all of the exception are objects, the classification or grouping is a natural outcome of the class hierarchy. And what was the third point?
Stack, the call stack,
Oh, yeah,
it
yeah,
runs
correct,
on the
correct.
top of the call stack,
Correct. So
memory call
exceptions
stack.
have the ability to throw the error up the call stack. So provide means to separate the detail of what to do when something out of ordinary happens. So separate the detail. Provide means to separate the detail of what to do when something out of ordinary happens. Have the ability to propagate. Okay, propagate is the word we need to use. Propagate error reporting. I think we have to make it bold. It's already bold, but let's make it once again. Propagate error reporting. They have the ability to propagate error reporting up the call stack. And all exceptions thrown within a program are objects, grouping or categorizing of exceptions is a natural outcome of class hierarchy. Okay, fine. Moving on. I think we should mark this slide. We're forgetting this. Make it dark blue. Okay. Now, so we did what is exception? We did why it's necessary. Write a program to demonstrate the use of catch clause in exception handling. So how do we handle exception? Let's see that. So let that be there. I'm gonna open this one. Class example and then public static void. Every time you create a class, you have to do this. So that's why I'm doing it so many times that you guys remember. String, that's the data type of array string, and then args takes arguments. Then you need to do try and then catch method. Catch, take exception and the error. So we'll come to that in a moment. So we'll say int array. So may tell me where I'm going wrong, okay? So int array. Basically, I want to declare an array of up to maximum 5 elements. So probably this will be something like my array equals where am I going wrong?
I think it should be new int 5.
I keep forgetting that.
And there should be brackets.
New int what?
Yeah, like
Array?
that.
Like that? Something is
Yeah, I
wrong.
think it's like this. And there should be brackets next to my array.
Okay. So int variable name array, and basically I have to instantiate this int and then array size with new. Okay, I keep forgetting the syntax. Okay, so int then I want to assign this my array fifth element to 30 divided by 0. So first we will catch arithmetic exception E, and we'll print system dot out dot println arithmetic exception occurred. Again we'll catch, this time array index out of bounds exception E, system dot out dot println array index out of bounds exception occurred. Okay, and then you want to do finally, you can do finally or just leave it, and just you want to print something, then just print system dot println system dot out dot println final code. Okay, so it's a int my array new int 5 my array 5 30 by 0. So what's happening here is that we initialize an array variable my array, and it's a fixed size array, it can only have 5 elements, and then we're trying to add the fifth element, but the index fifth will be actually sixth element, but sixth element doesn't exist. You can't put 6 into a size of 5, so you will get arithmetic exception. if you fix this, if you put 4, then you're going to get array index out of bound exception because dividing 30 by 0. Okay, so let's try that.
It's the opposite.
The opposite?
You're dividing by 0 and get arithmetic exception.
So this is arithmetic exception,
Yeah, divide by 0.
and then index out of bounds is assigning this value.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Example, run it. Okay, so arithmetic exception occurred. Let's fix this now. If I say just this, then we'll get error here. It's already saying that if you hover it, array index out of bound. And this, if you hover over it, it'll tell you numeric overflow. So run it. Now you get array index out of bounds occurred. Excellent. My array square new int. Okay. Fine, let's move on. We did this question also. Let's do what is a file in a class in Java. List any two methods of the file class. Also explain the use of these methods with the help of an example. So a file class in Java is used to handle the files, directories. It is used to perform operations on files, directories, etc. And two methods was read file and write file. Am I right, Sumaya? Was it read file and write file?
I don't know if there is read file and write file. There was is readable and is writable, I think.
Okay, okay. Let's take a look on that. So file, file class. Yep, that one. So file class is an abstract representation of file and directory path. A path name can either be absolute or relative. File class can have several methods for working with directories and files, such as creating new directories or files and deleting and renaming the directories of files, listing the content of the directory. Oh, it's can write and can read. Which one did you say?
I said it wrong. I said writable and readable.
Okay. Can write and can read are the two ones. So I guess we are forgetting this, so we have to mark this in dark blue. Anything you're forgetting, you have to mark it so we can practice more. So these two guys. Now it's saying give an example also. Now how the heck will give example of this? Example of file class program in Java. Did we create? I think we did create an example, if I'm not wrong. We did have an example with a file. Where was it? Where we were adding, where we were putting the saving the data in the file. Remember? Which slide was it in? Yeah, there you go. That one. This is the one. So, but this is related to the output stream. This is not related to the file class. So let's find an example. Any easy ones? New file. Create new file. What are the methods available? Let's see. Create new file. That's one method. Create new file. Yeah. Are there any other simpler ones? Can somebody find a simple example for file class in Java? The shortest one. Can write.
I have one, I'll add it.
Okay. Does it cover at least 2 functions?
Yes, it covers a lot of functions. I'll remove some of them.
Yeah.
I'll just leave 2.
I will also add one of them here. This looks a bit simple one. Let me put that. Oops, I'm just opening this one. Hey, file class methods. Oh my god, there's so many of them. So let me know once you've added. I'll just check if that's the easier one. File can write and is hidden length and file dot get name. This covers 2 functions basically. Get name and can write. So we can iterate over the file like so. And then we can just call these methods. So example of get name and can write. We can probably just say can read also. Maybe break it into two lines. It'll be better, I guess. It's getting long. System.out.println. Yeah, that's much better. Okay, so this is an example. Soumya, is your example more simpler than this? Can write, can read. Okay. Create new file. I see you didn't loop through the files. That was not required, right?
Oh, in yours, you're getting all the files from the directory, I think.
Yeah.
Directory.list files. This one is creating a new file, the one which I put.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I'll put both of them. And then whichever you find easier, you can use it. Happened. Missing anything? Okay, let's take a screenshot. Okay, so I put both of them. You can, in my suggestion, you use the can write and can read because both of those methods are demonstrated in both of these guys. This is basically creating a, is getting the directory, the entire document directory. Then list file is going to, so this should be another, yeah, here is list file. See, it returns an array of the abstract path name. So there are actually 3 functions you're covering. So you're getting the list of the file. Let me show you here. Oops. Again, I'm opening this one. So it's getting the list of all the files from this directory, whatever is there in this directory. Then I'm looping through. So in Java, this is how you loop through. How you do it in Python. Similarly, you loop through here. You give the class name and the variable name, and then this is the variable name, and this is your custom variable name with the help of which you can get access to each of the file methods. So file.canRead, file.canWrite. Yeah, I think this is easy. Cool. So moving on. Next. So I think let's read this just before we move on. Okay, let's see who all are there on this call. Okay, Ashish is there.
Yeah.
Okay, go on, Ashish. Ashish, what do you think you'll pass in today's exam?
आज के एग्जाम में
हाँ
हाँ पॉसिबिलिटीज है, पास हो जाऊंगा,
हाँ
बट गुड स्कोरिंग इज लिटिल बिट डिफिकल्ट. पास हो सकता है.
हाँ ठीक है. That's see, you might not score well in all the subjects, but yeah, if one subject goes bad, at least you have other subjects you can cover in. So if tomorrow goes really well, it'll cover up for other subjects.
या देखते हैं
Okay,
क्या
go on.
होता है. Fine. Okay. Java file class. The file class is an abstract representation of file and directory path name. A path name can be either absolute or relative.
Relative.
It's a relative, yeah. Either
Relative
absolute
is
or
your relative, your family relative. This is relative.
Relative.
Yeah. Okay.
The file class has several methods for working with directories and files, such as creating new directories or files, deleting and renaming directories or files, listing the contents of directory, etc.
Okay, so basically, when they ask you about file class, there are two things you need to do. First, you need to tell them what the file class is, and
Yeah.
the fact that what all it does, what all methods it has, and what is the functionality of those methods. So I think the second part is really easy. You can just say it's got several methods. We already took example of can read, can write, all of those stuff. So what happens? It can read different files in a directory. So you can read the content of the directory, and then you can loop through it. It can create new directories. You can create a new file. It can delete a file. So whatever operation you can think of on a file and directories, just name all of them here. That's the easiest thing you can talk about. Okay, and then when they ask about file class, what is it? It's a representation of a file and directory path name. Which and path name, path name is basically the path which you can traverse and reach to that file. So it could be absolute, it could be relative. Absolute means full path, like from your, like for example, if I go to my directory, this is my main directory. Okay, my user directory. So this can have multiple directories. Inside directory there will be another directory, right? So it'll keep going, like Imran had said, /download // so on. So this will be an absolute path. A relative path will be like, if I'm in downloads directory, what's the relative path? Relative path could be it start from here, download /object /blog to whatever that directory name is, and then up till that file. That's the relative path. So whichever root directory I am in, it's the relative path from that root directory. But if you talk about absolute path, it's directly from the computer itself, like from here. But if you are on web, then it will be complete path of that web. So that's the difference between absolute and relative. And file class is a representation of file and directory path name. Okay, so let's try to talk about this without looking. Ashish, do you think you can give me one point about what file class is?
Yeah, it's an abstract representation of the file path and the directories.
Yes. And path name
And
can be what?
path name can be either absolute or it can be.
I
पता नहीं, भूल
corrected
गया.
you on a word. I corrected one word of yours. when I talk about family.
Yeah, it's a relative.
Yes, yes.
It's for the
I will
relative
not forget.
point.
Yes.
Yep, I won't. So what
Yeah.
is the meaning of that relative? It's just
I
a
just
compatible. Okay.
explained to you. Relative
Yeah.
means from
Uh,
the
oh,
complete route,
got it.
full
Fine,
route.
fine, fine. Got it.
An
Okay.
absolute is like whatever route I'm currently in, from that place, what's the path? One, two, three,
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Okay.
tell me, so Maya, give me the second point about the file. So besides that, it's a representation of the file name and directories, file and directory path name.
The file class has methods uh,
Mm-hmm.
to create new files or handle files.
Hmm. What all operation can you think of on a file and directory? CRUD.
So for reading, writing, modifying,
Yes.
deleting
Deleting.
files.
Yes. So all of the CRUD operation: create, read, update, delete, and also listing the contents of a directory. So when they ask about file class, you'll think about file and directories, and you'll think about paths. There are three things you'll think about. You'll get your definition there, and then you think about what all you can do with the file in terms of the CRUD operation, what operations you can perform. So it's an abstract representation of file and directory path name. A path name can be either absolute or relative, and file class have several methods for working with the directories and files, such as creating new directories or files, deleting and renaming directories, and so on and so forth. It then talks about, give me two examples. Where is it? Yeah, give me two methods of the file class and explain these methods with the help of a program. So let's write the program. First, we'll import java.io.star, which means all the classes from that. Then we'll say file class example. Inside of that, public static void main string args, and then file mir equals new file, and this will require a path. I can probably say, so see, I have an option in my this editor to copy the path or reference. If I click on that, see, it gives me an option to copy either the absolute path or just path from the content root. Do you see that? So this is
Yeah.
absolute. This is the full path from users, Imran Sayyed, and all that. And this is from where I'm currently in. So I want the
Relative.
absolute path. Yeah, relative path. So I'm just going to use
Relative.
the absolute path. Okay. And then I'm going to say, what was the next one? I need to be able to iterate through this. So let's see.
No, you need to display the list, like list of
Yes, but
files.
you have to. But there's one more step. Files. Okay.
Okay. First, you need to
File.
get the list, then you can iterate.
Files. Correct. Files. My directory dot list file. So my directory has a method, which means the file object has a method called list file that'll help me iterate over it. So for file colon files, and then inside of this I'll say dot out dot println file name. So Maya, what is the function to get the file name? So file dot get name.
I don't know. This get absolute path for getting the path.
Okay, let's run it and see what happens. So it just has custom. If you open it, see. So only going to give me one level. It's not going to go deep, because for that you'll have to probably run another loop. It's just going to give me that. But if I want to know what all is there inside of this custom, or let's get to the source. I want to know what's there in the source. So copy path reference. Let's see, run it. See me all the files which are there. Exception handling, multipath, buffer input, everything is there. Whatever is there is showing that name. So there's a get name, and then can read. Let's see. Yeah, true. I'm getting true, which means all of these are readable. Are they writable? Can write? Yes, true. So they are writable also. So this is an example you need to do. So basically, you create an object of this class file, and you name it whatever you want. And then it has a method called list files. It's going to give you an array. You store the array in a variable called files. Okay. Then you loop through it. This is how you loop through in Java. You put the class name, you put your custom variable name, and you put the variable you want to loop through, the array variable. And then you just print it that many times. And whatever you want to call. So this has all the methods available that their file has. So then you can use it. Got it?
Yeah.
You want to try? Ashish?
मेरे पास
Are
वो
you on
नहीं है
laptop?
ID. I'm on my laptop, but I don't have that ID installed on my laptop.
You don't need an IDE. You can go Java Online Compiler.
Okay.
Go here. I'll paste that in the StreamYard
Mm-hmm.
and
Okay.
write it.
Got that.
Share your screen.
Let me know when you're able to see my screen.
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I think it's the same. So I think I need to.
Yeah. Why do you delete it? Don't delete it.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah,
This
you
is a
have
hello world.
everything to
Uh-huh.
start with. Yeah. Let's
Yeah.
directly start writing. Remove that line 6 and start writing. First, import the
Yeah.
java.io.star. Import it on top. So we'll import this package star semicolon,
Yeah.
and then we'll write the name of the class. What's the name of the class?
Currently, it's a hello world.
File. File. No, we were talking about file, right? We want to
Yeah.
instantiate the file class. Not there. That will always be whatever your file name is. So hello, instead of hello world, be main actually. See, you named your file as main, right?
Correct. Yes.
Whatever the name of the file, you put that as the line number 4.
Okay. It should be
Yeah.
main.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Then
Okay.
here we will instantiate the file class. So we'll
Okay.
first write the name of the class,
File.
space,
I'll
whatever variable you want to say, like my dir, whatever.
my idea. Yeah. Like this.
Yeah, equals new file,
File.
and then round brackets, and you have to give the path.
I need to get it from here somewhere because it's
It's okay, leave
online.
it. Right now we're just practicing program, not the execution of it.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it
so
will
just put
be.
XYZ, whatever the path is with in quotes.
Let's say uh, it's C colon like my.
Remember,
Okay.
you have to give directory name here, not the file name, because you're going to loop through directories. That's it. No, not txt. Just AV, just up till my, because we want directory here, not the file.
Okay.
Okay. Then in the next line, first you put the semicolon.
Yeah.
In the next line, what we need to do is we need to say file.
Yeah. File.
No. I mean class file.
Capital file. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, file, and then dir. Just put dir, and then square brackets because you're going to be an array equals mydir, whatever you can. Correct. Dot. So Maya, what was the name of the function that gets us all the that's list files? Yeah, dot list files. Camel casing. Camel case. No, that's round brackets.
Is it?
Round brackets.
1 minute.
Yeah, and F will be capital.
Okay. List file F will be always capital. Like in every function of every
Camel casing, you separate the word by making the next set of letters as capital.
okay.
That's camel casing. Okay, so we've got that. Now next semicolon, then for, then file. Very good. You're going really fast. Colon, and then dir, because you named that as dir, right?
Okay, I need to iterate through dir. So it should be
Yes.
dir. Correct.
Yes. Then opening and closing. Yeah.
Okay.
And inside of that, just press system out dot println.
Println.
And file name in quotes
File name
is
should be
then
like
space plus to concatenate plus.
concatenate. Yes.
Yeah, and then you have dir. Sorry, you have
Okay.
file, not dir, but file. Under file, you have all the methods. So dot get name, camel casing.
Name.
Function. That's it. That's your example. So you got two function covered: list files and get name, and that's your answer to that question.
Okay.
Okay, simple. So you understand what's happening here?
Yes.
So
yes.
on line
Yes.
6, mydir is going to hold the object of a file.
Yes.
This object has a method called list file available. So we are calling that method on this line number 7. This will return an array of the list of all these files inside
Correct.
of this directory, whose path
Okay.
you provided. Then we loop through that. In the variable file, you will have all the methods of the class. You can call get name, you can call can read, can write, whatever functions are there. You can call. In this case, we are calling get name on line
Yes.
11.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, stop share so we can move on.
Okay.
Okay, let's screen share. Guys, what time you'll want to take a break, for dinner break? Does 9:15 sound good?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll take half an hour. Half an hour is enough for dinner, or you want to make it like 45 minutes?
Half an hour will be enough for me.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see. Like if we need to, we can extend, but it's fine. For now, let's keep a target of 9:15. We take a break. We come back at 9:45. Because tomorrow is the last paper, so let's put all the energy we have, and then we can rest and relax after that.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. What is polymorphism? Poly means many, morphism means names.
Forms.
Forms. Sorry, forms. Forms. Okay.
ये मैंने पढ़ा था, आपने पढ़ने के लिए बोला.
Correct. So many forms. So what are we talking about? We're talking about this paper called Java, and we're talking about objects, object-oriented programming. So whose many forms we are talking about? We're talking about the objects many forms. So when an object can take many forms, that is called polymorphism. I don't think you'll ever forget that now.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
You're sharing your screen, Imran?
Oh shit. Am I not?
No.
Or I didn't click the last button. I went till all the steps, but I didn't click the last button. So yeah, I was talking about many forms, right? So this is the question paper, and we're talking about object oriented. So an object that can take many forms, that's polymorphism. Okay, what are different types? Static and dynamic. Static polymorphism is a linking of a function with an object, and it is achieved through overloading. And the dynamic uh, polymorphism, in this, the compiler does not decide the methods to be executed. It is the JVM, Java Runtime, Java Virtual Machine, that decides what methods to be executed, and this happens at uh, compile time, and the first one happens at runtime. I hope I'm not mixing the two. Explain how polymorphism helps in code reuse in programming with the help of a program. So let's write that. So we'll say class. Should take another example here. So class example, oops, public static void main. I'm doing it so many times that it will get in your head. At least you'll know how to create main function.
Yeah, at least.
That's the basic. Okay, so you created that. So now we have to demonstrate overloading. So for that, we'll create another function called, we create another class basically. Class overloading example. And inside of this, we say public void, or not void, let's say it returns int, and it's going to add numbers, numbers. It's going to take two parameters. One is type int a, and then type int b, and then it's going to return, or let's call it something more generic, like, or let's keep it that way for now. Add numbers. Oops, I don't have to call that, to just return a plus b. Okay, then we have to instantiate this class here. So we know how we can instantiate it using the overloading example, and then we call it my example equals new overloading example. Now using this object, we can call this method. So let's call that. So my example dot add numbers, and then pass 2 and 4. That's how you write a Java program. So it's going to return it. So you have to hold it in a variable. So I'll say int result equals. Why don't we print it here only? Who's going to
Yes, I was going
double
to say.
print? System dot out dot println result is. I mean, you can do that in the exam over here, but I'm just doing it now to save time. Result is a plus b. Will this work? Will this a plus b work here? Not sure. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. I'm going to run this. Yeah, it magically worked. So 2 plus 4, see? So that's how you basically do it. Like you create your main, think of this as your main class. You'll have a main function, and whatever you want to do, you do it in another class. You instantiate that one, and then call whatever its method. So now I want to demonstrate overloading. So I'll create another function.
With the three parameters. With the three parameters, that's all.
Yes,
It will be simple.
yes. Int c, and then I'll call add numbers, but this time with
Also add one extra like result from
let's see,
result from like,
and
and
return a plus
this,
b plus. return value is never used, but that's okay. That's just complaining. Okay, so let's run it.
You can
Run.
do one more thing.
What?
You can add like result from two para function is, and result from three para function is to
Yeah,
differentiate.
yeah, of course. I mean, you can do that. I'm just writing it.
Yeah,
You can decorate it. You can do whatever you want.
yeah,
And then you can do another one with different type. Like you can make this float, double, whatever. Got
yeah.
it? So that's your example also is done for polymorphism, and that's example for overloading. I don't think you have to give overriding examples also, but if they ask you, what is overriding, you can say that re uh, redefining or implementing the no redefining the same function which is present in the parent class in the child class, but making it do something else. Like in maybe that function is calculating speed of something in the parent class, and here you're calculating the time taken by something, so you can do something like that. More about polymorphism, like they can ask about advantages of polymorphism. So I guess data abstraction helps developers reuse the code. uh, like you write once, and then you it helps you write the test and everything, unit testing for that, make unit testing easier, and reuse the code as well. So let's take a look at the some of the contents of polymorphism. Ism- Yeah. So Maya, let's read this.
Polymorphism and its advantages. Polymorphism is derived from a Greek word poly and morphs. The word poly means many and morphs means forms. Polymorphism is the ability of an object to take many forms. It allows one interface to be used for a general class of actions. The polymorphism principle is implemented in Java programming with methods overloading and overriding. Overloading allows methods that perform similar or closely related functions to be accessed through a common name. Overriding works together with inheritance to enable code reuse of existing classes without the need for recompilation. It tends to reduce the pairing of multiple functionalities. It helps the programmer to reuse the codes. That is, classes once written, tested, and implemented can be reused as required. Reduces code, so it becomes easier for the programmer to debug the code. Supports a single variable for multiple data values. The value of a variable inherited from the superclass into the subclass can be changed without changing that variable's value in the superclass or any other subclasses.
Yeah, so reducing pairing of multiple functionalities, reusing the code, write it once, test it, and then implemented one can be reused as required. Reduces the amount of code you have to write, so you can, uh, making it easier for the programmer to debug the code, because if you have less amount of code, it's easier rather than if you have like whole 1,000 lines of code. Support single values for multiple data, like declare a variable in the parent class, redeclare it in the child class, or reassign it, or change its value. So all of those things are possible with polymorphism. Linking of a function with an object during compile time. Oh, I think I reversed that, right? This is at compile time, this is at runtime. So how do I remember? CSC runtime. They are. Kritika, how do I remember that compile is related to static and runtime is related to dynamic?
Hmm.
Think about it.
Static ends with C. Compile starts with C. Static compile. Oh, dynamic also. Wait. Hmm. I remember DR doctor. Doctor, so dynamic run.
Okay.
Dynamic
Okay.
run Doppler. Yes.
Okay. Fine. Cool. Right. And in this compiler doesn't determine the method to be executed. JVM Java virtual machine performs the process at runtime. Okay. Cool. Moving on. Next question. Good. We reached 4 questions. Oh my god. I hate it when they put all the difficult ones in the first question. See here they put JDBC and all that in the first questions. You can't skip it. You're bound to do it. Java, write Java program that takes 3 numbers as input and displays the largest amongst them. 3 numbers as input. Let's try this one. Okay. Public, static, void, main, string, box. And here we're going to do so we have to take 3 numbers. So we need the scanner class. We have to instantiate scanner class. So scanner is already pulled that for me. I wish in exam we had that feature. It already pulled java.util.scanner. I couldn't remember where this is. So remember that scanner is in the util package. You have to import it. Okay. So let's say my scanner, or just call it scanner. It'll be easier. And then new scanner. And this takes system.in, which reads the input of the user. System.in. And then we'll this say system.out.println, enter your, I think we don't have to do that. You have to run a loop basically. So for int I, can I do like that here? 0 I less than 3. Basically I'm gonna run it 3 times. I plus plus. I can't do like that. Can I? System.out.println, enter your number, and then we also have to have a variable in which we can store max. So it's a int max equals, for now I'll just say 0. No, we can say int dot, there's a constant called max something. What's that called?
It is integer.max dot min.
Is it int dot integer min? What is it like?
Just integer with capital I.
Min value. Now again, these are the twists. These are the things you won't remember in exam. So this is what you have to practice. Integer dot min value. Okay. So
What this
that's
will
why in the
do?
morning. Sorry.
What this will do? Like integer.min
So
value.
yeah. So in this class, you have min value constant available. So constant has the minimum value with the help of which you can compare it against with. Because when you are running a loop, the first time you will not have anything to compare. Like he gives you one number. What are you going to compare against? You need to have something to compare, right? So this will have the minimum value that you can compare that number against. Okay. So you'll say first you'll take that from the user. So to take it from the user, you'll say scanner dot next. Is it next line or next input? What is that function?
You can use next int for int.
Next. What happens if I use next line?
It will return a string and you have to convert it to int.
Okay, fine. So this object has next int function, which allows us to take whatever user has entered. So it's going to read the input from the keyboard. Okay, so then we have to store it in a variable, and I think we should just declare it on top, because otherwise it'll get declared multiple times. Declare my number. Can I do that?
It should be array, I guess. In
No,
case you're
no,
doing it
it's
with a
just
for.
it's a single number. It's not an array. Okay, so we'll say max equals, if my number is greater than the max value, which is basically in dot min value, then it's equal to my number. Otherwise, let's say it's equal to max, which means, am I doing something wrong here? What am I doing wrong? Can be replaced with mat dot max. Am I using a variable that's not allowed? Okay, let's see. So what I'm saying is that check whatever user has entered, is that greater than the min value? If it is, then store max with that value, whatever user entered. Otherwise, keep it to this, whatever it was before. In the next iteration, again, it'll compare. And it'll keep comparing for the 3 iteration. And finally, at the end, eventually we'll have the maximum number here. And system dot out dot println maximum number is plus max. Something is wrong somewhere. I don't know what. Let's run it and see what's happening there. Enter your number. So I put 3, then I put 2, and I put 5. Oh, it worked. Looks like there's no issue. So of course I entered 3 numbers, see? 3. I mean, you can also do over here like enter number plus I plus yeah. Do something like that. Just to tell him which number is it. I plus 1 actually, not 1. Yeah, enter one number. So you put 4, 7. So you give 5 is the maximum. So am I doing anything wrong here? It's all good.
It looks correct.
Okay, let's match it with the actual one. The question was, takes 3 numbers as input. That one. We'll see. We had scanner, correct, system.in, and say max equals integer dot min value. This guy is kind of initializing a variable every time. I'm not doing that because I feel that 3 times unnecessarily creating a variable is not a good practice. Initialize it on top and just reuse the same variable and keep changing its value. There's no need to create a variable every time in this loop. And then just asking to enter the number, next int, input, same thing. Yeah, this is guys calling this as input. I'm calling this as my number, so you can change it if you want to. Same thing, same thing. Oh, I didn't close the scanner. Close the scanner also. Okay, so two things I missed, which was closing the scanner, and I didn't remember this part, which was max sum equals integer min value. So that's, I have to remember that. Cool. Moving on. Explain why main method in Java is always static. And we already know that a static method can be called without instantiation of the class. At the time when main method is called, the instance of an object is not available. So we want to be able to that class before the instantiation of the class. That is why we declare it as static. Otherwise, we'll get an error. So Kritika, let's read this. Where is it? Oops. Why can't I search it? Why can't I search it? Yeah, there you go.
Explain why main method in Java is always static.
Mm-hmm.
The static is a keyword which we use in the main method to define it as static. There is no object of the class available at the time of starting Java runtime, and because of that, we have to define main method as static. By doing that, JVM can load the class into the main memory and call the main method.
Okay.
So if we define main method as non-static method, JVM would not be able to call it and throws an error.
What error does it throw, Sumaya?
A main method not found in class.
Whatever the class name is.
Yeah.
And please define it as public static. Okay. Differentiate between string and string buffer class. Okay. Sumaya, Kritika, do you guys recall anything difference between these two classes?
String buffer is mutable and string is immutable.
Okay, good.
And with string buffer concatenation is faster, and in string it is slower.
Yes. Yes. And they kind of repeated this statement twice, right? In the example that we saw in the slide.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, the reason I'm opening the question paper and not opening the slide this time, because just preparing our mind to not look at the slide and be able to recall. Because in the examination, this is what you will see. You're not going to see the slides there. So that's why you're doing it this way. So yeah, so two things Sumaya mentioned was, one was string buffer is what, mutable, you said, and string class is not mutable, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And other point was that string buffer is faster in the concatenation operation of string, while string class is slower. Or am I saying the other way around?
No, I think that's correct.
Okay. Okay. Do you remember any other point?
Maybe there was something about heap memory, but I'm not sure.
Okay. So maybe string buffer class stores in a uses heap memory, and string uses stack, probably. Let's see. Let's find out. This is the last one we are doing before we take a break. And then we'll only be left with quite a few. Java is huge. Okay. So like you said, um, this is mutable, this is immutable. So looks like buffer is has more advantage over the string class, right? The string buffer. So string buffer is fast and consumes less memory when we concatenating the string. And then string is slow and consumes more memory. Kritika, when you wrote that, what was that where you wrote need, speed? You wrote
Mm,
something, right?
yes, the
Some on that
difference
slide.
between quick merge sort.
Yeah, I was trying to recall it with the Need for Speed movie.
Yes, yeah, that's what I wanted.
Is that what it was?
Yes, it was. I used to play that game a lot when I was a
Yeah, okay.
kid. It was a game, right? Need for Speed.
It's a game and it's a movie also.
Oh, I haven't seen the movie, but I used to love the game. I used to like drive cars
If
all
you
the time.
if you love the game, you must watch the movie also. It's
Okay.
a very nice movie.
Yes, that's what I wanted to do. Good, bad, and then Need for Speed.
Okay, maybe make something with this also. I guess you'll be able to do that.
Okay, string and string buffer. Yes.
Yeah, it's mutable, it's fast, consumes less memory. Looks like all the benefits of the string buffer. Uses heap memory, and the other one uses string constant pool, not stack, but string constant pool. And then another point is it doesn't override the equals methods of the objects, while string overrides the equals method of object class. You can compare contents of two strings by equals method. Okay, Ashish, you're still there? Or Ashish? Is Ashish left?
He said BRB.
Okay. Okay, so no problem. Kritika, maybe you can read.
String versus string buffer class. The
Mm-hmm.
string class is immutable. String buffer is mutable.
Okay.
String is slow and consumes more memory when we concatenate too many strings because every time it creates a new instance.
It's called
While
concatenate. Con.
concatenate,
Yeah.
when we concatenate too many strings, because every time it creates a new instance.
Mm-hmm.
String buffer is fast and consumes less memory when we concatenate t strings.
Mm-hmm.
String class overrides the equals method of object class, so you can compare the contents of two strings by equals method. String buffer class does not override the equals method of object class. String class is slower while performing concatenation operation. String buffer class is faster when performing concatenation operation. String class uses string constant pool. String buffer uses heap memory.
With pool, I'm thinking of swimming pool. Okay, so let's try to recall whatever we can, and again we will take another recap on this one, and I'll mark this slide as blue because it's very easy to forget this slide. It's not something that's very common. So I'm marking the ones we are forgetting as a hard blue. Okay. So string buffer is mutable and string class is immutable. String buffer class uses heap memory and string class uses constant pool. But what pool? Is it constant?
String constant pool.
Okay, string constant pool, right? And string buffer class consumes less memory and is faster when concatenating during the concatenation operations, while the reverse is true for the string class. Uh, String class overrides the equals method. String buffer doesn't do that. Am I missing any other point? I don't think so. Okay, so Kritika, read it once again in a way that you're trying to remember, because when we hide this, I'd like you to recall as much as you can.
Okay. String and string buffer. String is immutable. String buffer is mutable. Is slow and consumes more memory, and string buffer is fast and consumes less memory. So we talk
Mm-hmm.
about speed and time and space here. It consumes more
Mm-hmm.
memory and more memory.
Mm-hmm.
Then string overrides the equals method of the object class,
Oh,
and this
nice. Good point. Time and space. Time complexity, space complexity. I can at
yes,
least I can remember that part. Okay. And what we were forgetting was when I said constant pool, but I didn't remember what was going with that. So it's actually we are talking about string. So string goes with that pool. So string constant pool. Okay, carry on, please. Sorry to interrupt you. You want to start again, or you want to continue? Hello? And we lose Kritika. I guess we can't hear. So may I please continue with?
hello.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, she's back. Yeah, carry on.
Yes. You're not sharing your screen.
Oh, yeah, I removed it because I was typing. 1 second.
Okay. So the first point is immutable and mutable.
Hmm.
Then the
What
second
is
point,
immutable?
string is immutable.
Yes.
String is immutable. String buffer mutable.
Hmm.
Then time and space. So string causes it takes more time and consumes more memory.
Yep.
And string buffer is fast and consumes less memory for
Mm-hmm.
concatenation of strings. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the third point was it overrides the equals method. String
Mm-hmm.
overrides the equals method, and string buffer does not do that. Does not override the equals method of object.
Yes. So
And
you can compare two strings in string class because it helps you override.
yes,
Okay.
and I don't remember the next one.
That's when it's related to pool, swimming pool.
Pool, string constant pool and heap memory. String buffer uses heap memory.
Yep, perfect. So let's take a break. Let's come back at I think let's do it at 10. Let's give it at least 40 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
I know we'll be like dead. We so I can tell you now that we will only have the energy till 11 o'clock. Like at least we will be in our awake situation. But after 11, you'll keep dying. So let's try to cover. Let's try to go fast and cover up. As many slides as possible. Of course, we have to finish the question paper. Yeah, and then we'll finish off with the blue slides, and then we'll just take a look at the other guys. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Cool then. See you guys. Bye.
So bye.